Greetings and welcome, everyone. Welcome to another show. You are in the Health, Wisdom, and Wealth Show, powerful conversations for living your best life. And I am here today with Annemarie Tolman. And we're going to talk about something innovative and out of the box for women as far as women's conversations and living powerfully in this space. But we're going to be talking about health and wealth, the correlation of the two, as well as bridging the gap between health and wealth with crypto. So let me just tell you a little bit about Annemarie first, and then we're going to get right into things. She is an RN, an MSN, a motivational speaker, coach, and CEO of the Annemarie Tolman LLC Consulting and Nurses Outside the Box, an organization for nurse innovators, executives, and entrepreneurs who are creating the life and lifestyle they love. She's most recently founder of Crypto Wise Women, a high-level mastermind group for women who want to learn more, to turn more of their personal focus into their personal wealth as it relates to cryptocurrencies. And as a nurse, Annemarie has been unmasking trauma patterns, breaking the silence, and helping clients turn their stuff into a powerful force for good. She's helped not only change their health, but also their relationships as their businesses surge to a new level. She works with highly motivated, driven, but exhausted women who are ready to lean out. I love that. Lean out. You know, we always hear lean in, and yes, I want you to lean in and hear this conversation, but then I want you to lean out into that space of unfamiliarity or small amount of familiarity where you actually end up making huge strides in life. She teaches women how to create and grow wealth using crypto, NFTs, and innovative strategies, blockchain strategies that provide streams of income so time can be reallocated to the things in life that matter most, our personal relationships. And on that note, Annemarie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's so good to be here. Really, really, I love it. So, and I'd love for the introduction as well. Thank you for that one too.
You are quite welcome. I'm grateful that you're here today because you and I have had some conversations around this health and wealth gap and just trying to really figure out how to even bring this conversation to our audience, bridging the gap with crypto. And I'm going to get right into it. I know that I always want to know this about our guests, and I know that our audience wants to know, but tell us a little bit about your journey towards this current passion and focus on helping more women learn and support other women in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space.
Yeah, I love that question. And thank you for asking it, because you know, it's been interesting. We all go in life, right, through journeys, and we go one place or another place. And I feel there's always a thread that is kind of powerful, even from the time when you were really young. So I'm originally from the Netherlands, right? And I became a nurse, and then I came here to the United States, went to Hopkins, did that whole trajectory. I think on a very deep level, the one thing that's always encouraged me, always been like there for me, was the empowerment of women. Whether that be in their health and their relationships and their wealth, it always was there. And through my life, I kind of navigated, right? And found these things, like first as a nurse in health, right? And then I was like going outside the box and becoming a nurse entrepreneur. And I was like, oh, let me just bring some more of these nurses with me, because there's a whole field of business of that nurses simply are not aware of, that they can start their own businesses, make their own money, right? Have their own practices. Like, yeah, nurses were like, no, there's no way. So I think that really got me. And then honestly, this whole cryptocurrency came out of that same feeling, like there's something here for women, for all of us, but I will talk mostly about women, that we don't know, that is this coming up. There's a movement starting, there's enormous wealth to be made, and so many women are not aware of it. And as I was starting my own curiosity into this whole crypto, which is really new, relatively new, I was like, I see all these guys, I see all these men doing phenomenal things, but I don't see women. And the whole feeling came up for me. I have to do more. Again, with that women's empowerment idea, I want to do more. I want to help more women get started in this, because this is not going to go away. This whole crypto blockchain, it is not going to away. And in the next 5 to 10 years, it will change our lives. It will change our practices. It will change everything we do in health as well. So yeah, I think that's kind of the golden thread that I see through all of it. That makes sense.
That's amazing. And I love it. And I think that it's important for us as women to recognize that there are golden threads in our lives, but we are also able to see the connector,
Mhm.
you know, and women's empowerment has been huge for me as well. This blockchain and crypto arena got in front of me first in about 2015. In 2017, I actually dabbled a little, but it was so volatile then. If you didn't know what you were doing, it could have been really scary.
Mhm.
So I ended up leaving a little bit of my money in to see what would happen, and then pulled the other out. And with the way that the crypto market went, I was like, okay, I'm glad I made a move then.
Right?
But, you know, that just goes to show you too that, you know, there's so many correlations to even how stocks work,
Yes.
with the ups and downs, the volatility, the stability. And it's about knowing, or at least being in the presence of those who know, who have had some experience around all of this. And, you know, when we talk about the subject of wealth and wealth creation and holding on to your wealth, especially for our community, for women.
Mhm.
You know, we've gotten away from women who have been married and husbands who've managed all the finances, and we come out in the end looking like, what do I do now? We're trying to be a little more proactive, and many of us are being a lot more proactive in knowing our financial situations and what we can and cannot do, what's comfortable, what's not comfortable. And so what is it that really got you started on this path of action to do things in this crypto world and then bring what you learned? Was there a certain incident? You mentioned being there and seeing all the men and wondering where all the women were, but what really happened there?
Well, I think a couple of things. I've honestly never been into investing. That wasn't part of my path. I like you said in introduction too. I have a lot of trauma, and I've worked with a lot of people with trauma, but I also have had my own trauma. That's why I can kind of help them.
We all have. Mhm.
And when you go into talking about empowerment and trauma, right, if there is trauma in your life, it affects every single thing. Emotional trauma, right, which I talk about, abuse and things like that, they affect every single piece of your life. They affect your mental health, your physical health, your relationships, and they actually affect your wealth. So there was a piece of me that never really looked into that. And I think I've come to a piece of my life where I was like, okay, I've dealt with a lot of these other things, but I haven't truly dealt with this piece yet. The funny thing was though, so then crypto came along, and I was like, I was one that knew about it in 2017 and 2019, but didn't take a step. And I finally had the feeling like, if I don't act now, I am going to lose out myself and something that could really change my life and my children's lives for years and years and years to come. That's the feeling I had. Like, and I had the feeling even like 2 or 3 years or even a year would be behind the curve where I wanted to be. So for me, it was like, okay, let me really start investigating that. I mean, and part of me was I was jumping. So I was like, okay, I'll just jump in and I'll learn and I'll just figure out, right? It's almost like this mindset, like I can just figure this out, right? I can find the resources, I can listen to the YouTubers, I can find out what this is all about, right? So I think truly on a deeper level for me, it was like I can resolve this piece, I can change the paradigm around this piece of wealth within myself. And then I've always done this. Part of my journey has always been, well, whatever I find out, I want to give to others. I'm not a person that has to figure it all out myself before I give it to others. That was the same thing with trauma. When I started working with my trauma work, I was this much ahead of my clients. It worked, right? People were like, oh, I wish I'd known you 20 years ago. I'm like, yeah, 20 years ago, I wasn't there. So it didn't work for me. So I think for me, it was the same thing. Like, I did this deep dive. I found out about it. I didn't see many women in it. And I was like, I want to do something about it. I think the difference this time for me was like, I don't want to do it by myself. I built business by myself. I didn't want to have employees. I was like, I want to do this together with other women. So honestly, I got together with some of people that I knew, especially 3 women. And I was like, what do you think? Do you want to do this with me? And it became this piece like, yeah, let's change this paradigm. Let's change this paradigm for women together. Let's do it by women for women. And let's create something that is not an expert model. Because although we have a certain amount of expertise, this world is changing so fast that a person can say to me, oh, I have all this in experience in investing. I'm like, great, awesome. We'd love to hear from what you're saying. But this world is a different world. It really is. So it's more experiencing, and that's why this whole mastermind idea came from. Let's figure things out together. Let's bring all good ideas together so we can really just get this train rolling and let it go rolling fast. I think that was part of it. It's like my own curiosity and then doing it together with other women. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I applaud you. And I'm grateful to you too, because I am one of those women. And it's really interesting to see the wealth of knowledge that the 4 of you actually have and what you're sharing, what you're pouring into others. And I often talk about the fact that we've entered into a new era, right? We've come out of the season of Pisces and control, and even the leadership model for decades and decades and decades before has been one of command and control. And with Aquarius actually showing up in its full capacity, peace, harmony, collaboration are the big words, and the new leadership model of trust and inspire. And you garner trust, you garner inspiration when you're a part of something that not only are you benefiting from, but others as well. And I call this decade that we're in now the 5.0 decade, because it is the next level from where we have come from the beginning in 1.0, 2.0. And that's a story for another day, but it actually maps out how we've grown. And technology is our 5.0 world. And you said it, this is not going away. And if 4.0 was comprised of stocks and bonds and the traditional wealth building strategies, something new had to come along. And it is blockchain, it is cryptocurrencies, it is NFTs and other things that are part of the blockchain community. And how, even women's mindset, you kind of mentioned this too, has changed through the last decade, and it has impacted many millennials as well, because I think they're going to be more of an example to us over the next 5 to 10 years than we are going to be to them. I think, again, look at being in the space of strength and tenacity and perseverance and, these types of principles where millennials are the go-getters and they grew up in this space. So it's not unfamiliar to them, and they're very comfortable with taking next steps and, doing that dance and starting home-based businesses to supplement daily jobs or just jump off the ledge, and especially where COVID is concerned. We've seen a lot of changes happen with COVID. And what has changed for you during this time of COVID, especially, that has helped you to move even more passionately in the direction of crypto and blockchain?
Yeah, I absolutely. I totally agree with you. And I have kids myself who are in those, right, in those 20s years. And it's wonderful to see how innovative they are and how they don't want to go back to those old structures that it doesn't fit anymore, right? And you're right, COVID has changed it completely. So much more done from home. And so much more time can be spent in these things like NFTs and cryptos and things like that. For me, the whole COVID situation changed my nurse's perspective greatly, actually. I came out of nursing, became a nurse entrepreneur. And during the whole COVID, I was like, do I want to go back or not? I decided ultimately to keep on going in my own path of being a nurse entrepreneur. But I did get a lot of collaborations. And it got me thinking, especially with nurses out of Africa. I have a really warm heart for nurses in Africa. I love Cape Verde. It's a very small 10 islands on the west coast of Africa. I've been there many, many times, met healthcare professionals there as well. And I saw their struggle. I mean, you're talking about nurses struggling here. It's like, it sounds horrible to say, but it's nothing compared to some of the struggles they see there. And then I was like, what can nurses do? And how can I make a difference in these worlds of nurses as well, right? These women nurses, mostly female nurses that I know. And I'm still looking for some of these answers, but there is a truth to crypto and blockchain and cryptocurrency that is not so manipulated by governments, right? There's a whole decentralized place in it. There's nurses who people in Cape Verde who cannot have access to banks. They do have access to cryptocurrency. So it got me more thinking, like, how can I empower more women and then also more nurses into this whole entire space? And I think ultimately crypto and blockchain, like I said, it's all a progress, and we're just starting, and we've just started with Cryptowise Women. So it's all coming. It's not there yet. But I think there are solutions there that we have never thought about before. There's global health solutions that we never thought about before, that somehow the blockchain and the crypto and everything, this more decentralized approach, will actually have access to. There's physicians, there's nurses who now make websites, right, on decentralized platforms, right, versus what we know in the com world where you can be shut down for other reasons too. There's so much possibility. So I think the whole era of COVID got me more strong. I think what is possible and how are we shifting this entire paradigm on how we work, how we accumulate wealth, and how we then also start investing and distribute more wealth equally as well. So yeah, I don't know if that answered this, but that's a ton for me.
That was a great question, and thank you. It just brings to mind the greater value of collaboration.
Yes.
Right? Because you're working with others, and and not that even as a solo entrepreneur, you're not working with others, but it's a different intention.
Yes.
And I love that. But let's bring it back for a moment. And again, many of the women who watch our shows, I've asked them, do you know about cryptocurrency, blockchain? And it's like, it's either this or I've heard the words, but no. So let's kind of start at the beginning. What is your kind of definition of the blockchain and cryptocurrency?
Yeah, it's a good question. And the easiest I really can see it is a digital record, right? So for so long in the beginning of world, we exchanged good, we exchanged bread for some vegetables, right? And then, well, it didn't always work. So we went to money. I went to silver coins, actually. Silver coins was the next one, and gold coins, right? Because that's the way we didn't have to exchange one thing for another. And then ultimately currency came in through governments, right? As long as we trust the government, we had this paper money that we can make. And then we went to digital money, and lots of money is nowadays digital, right? If I pay you $10, it probably means that it comes from my bank account and then it goes to your bank account. It's a ledger. It's like, it's just written there, right? It's like a spreadsheet. Now, cryptocurrency is all spreadsheet. That's really what it is. It's just a spreadsheet that everybody has access to through the blockchain. So we have so many different cryptocurrencies, right? So many different spreadsheets, so many different coins, you can almost say, that are all digitalized. There's nothing there that you can hold, even a Bitcoin, right? We call it a Bitcoin. They have this nice picture of a Bitcoin, which you really can't hold it. It really is just a currency that is on a digital way, a digital spreadsheet, like I said. And then so that we have all over the world. If I can put something, if I have a cryptocurrency and I exchange it for another cryptocurrency, that is being recorded, right? And that is being recorded on a blockchain. So all these different cryptocurrencies are recorded, any kind of transactions are recorded on a blockchain. Now there's many computers all around the world that actually have access to that ledger, that computerized piece of material, right, that finances. So that means that if I do an exchange with you, then of course you will see it, but there's also many other computers and blockchains who will see it as well. While before it was just bank to bank, right? The bank was holding that. If I go to your bank, and the only really information that's there often is the bank who has that record, right? With a blockchain, it's everywhere. So suddenly we have the information, we can put contracts, we can put, like I said, websites on this blockchain that everybody has access to. So that changes a lot, right, in how we're thinking. And that's a lot of the threatening things that are happening too, when there's governments and there's banks that saying what's going on, and they're getting into the mode, right? There's no doubt that governments and banks are actually collecting things like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency. It was just listed on a German exchange as well. So there's more and more of these companies that are getting into this. They make no doubt about it. It's still, you don't hear about it. There's little blips that you hear about it, but many of these companies get into this. Why? Because again, these cryptocurrencies are not connected to countries. They're not connected to specific institutions. They're everywhere. And that makes it extremely powerful. That makes it also really possible to grow, right? So I don't know if that makes sense, but that is kind of the way I see it. It's the best way I can explain it, probably.
That was actually quite good. And the blockchain is the decentralized platform for the movement of coin exchange, coin creation, everything. And you talked about, you can put documents and just all kinds of things. And I did want to bring in for our audience too, let's name some of the companies that we are all familiar with that are actually have opened their coffers to exchanging in this world of cryptocurrency, like Microsoft.
Yes, Adidas. Is that how you say it?
Say it again.
Adidas or
Adidas.
Adidas. Okay, that's what we say in
Adidas, Nike, Macy's,
yes,
Dell Computers, HP, Hewlett Packard, Apple. And now you're having the entertainment industry moving in this direction. There are some commercials on TV of entertainers talking about, how you might be able to get involved in the crypto world, and for as little as $1.
Yes.
And kind of play and test. And so you've got Mariah Carey, you've got just so many entertainers. And before you know it, we're going to be looking at movies being done and funded in this space. We're going to be looking at hospitals and education centers being built using cryptocurrency. And so I say all of that because I really want our audience to know that while it may seem like this is a space of uncertainty and just dis-ease because of the unfamiliarity, it's time to get familiar.
Well, and I love that you said that, because that's actually what I did, right? And I was like, let's just go and purchase, because so this is the idea too. It's kind of crazy, but I've heard this before. And even I had that idea, like if I had to buy a Bitcoin, I had to pay like what right now it's around 36,000. I had to pay 36,000. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to do that, right? But you don't. You find $5, $10, $15, right? You can start small and start accumulating and start investing or putting more into it and start at least playing with it, right? And that's why I say to a lot of the women who also come into Crypto Wise Women, put 25 bucks in or whatever you can lose, right? And start getting familiar with it, start playing with it. Because like you said, this is not something that's far off anymore. It's actually into our world. We just don't realize, I think we don't realize how close it actually is. Because once, I think honestly, a couple months or a year from now, we'll be like, wow, it will be very mainstream. It's what we talk about all the time. Crypto will be a regular part of our world. We can pay with a debit card with crypto,
Yep.
right? And we
Yep.
can, and people know that, but this debit cards that you can get in I'm not going to pay any companies, but you can get that from companies, and then you can go and pay for it for regular stuff, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, don't think that this is all out there and you have to do all kinds of difficult things. No, it's actually here, and it's here to stay, and it's here to use. And you have the opportunity to keep this very far away, and then one day be bombarded by it. Or I think just go and play, come and play, because I think that's the other thing, right? A lot of our women, their safety and security is really important. So what I say in the beginning, especially, go and have fun with it. Really go and have play with it. For me, in terms of also my own trauma and on my own crap around money and wealth, it actually helped to just say, okay, I have 25, I have $100, and I'm just going to play with this and see where it goes. And I did. And that made it all a little bit lighter and a little bit easier and a little more fun too. So yeah.
I love that. And the whole, trauma, more women, I think, than men have issues with wealth and money and wealth building and wealth accumulation. And, a lot of us have painted this picture in our minds that, money is to be managed versus money being in a flow.
Mhm.
And where do I jump in to meet money in the flow? And those are some things that I'm glad you brought it up. And I thank you for your vulnerability in that, many of us, I've had my issues with money,
Mhm.
and to know that it takes a little work, but this is such a great way to help heal
Yes.
in that area. And I can tell you too, back in the early days, you could not get into this with $25
I
or $100. And you really had to have, and these are terms that I'm sure many women have heard: risk tolerance. You had to have a very high risk tolerance in order to play in this world. Things have changed and doors have opened for us. And now is the time, really.
Yeah, and I love what you said, by the way, because risk tolerance, I still say getting into crypto has risk, but within the cryptocurrency world, right, and a cryptocurrency and NFT world, there are very projects that I would consider low risk and medium and high risk, right? And you can start playing in these lower risk where there's really, you always have a chance of losing it, but the chance of losing it is way, way smaller than some of these high risk projects. So yeah, come and try it out. And also the ease of investing, right? That has changed as well. Even a year, 2 years from now, getting into it was a lot harder. Like you said, also it required more money, but it was also more difficult. Now there are really easy apps that you can just download an app, guys, and you can just connect your PayPal or a bank to it, whatever you want, put some money in and start doing it. It's almost like a bank. So it's not scary in that way anymore.
Yes, yes. So, Annemarie, many of our conversations here on the Health, Wisdom, and Wealth Show dive into the subject of using lifestyle and food as medicine. In particular, living a whole food, plant-based lifestyle.
Mhm.
And we know that many of our health issues are attributable to the stresses that we put on ourselves because of money.
Yes.
And they're related to wealth or lack thereof. We're also in a great deal of wealth and healing that we've talked about, and success related to this sustainable type of lifestyle.
Mhm.
So bringing this type of re-education around wealth into our lifestyles, what are some of the ways that you would advise someone to do it that is less stressful? Besides finding places to play with the smaller amounts of money, does it have to do with, how much time they're spending? What are some ideas that you have?
Yeah, so definitely start small. I think that takes the like way stressed out. Do it in community if you can. I do believe that the fact that we can do things in community helps, because you can call another woman, or right, in my case, or another person, say, hey, I really don't know how to do this. Can you help me? And that kind of really lowers the stress as well. So I think those are probably the two most important things. I love to do meditations as well with people, where we look at what are some of your money stories, which also really affect your crypto and blockchain and NFT worlds as well. So to actually release those, right? And release the patterns that you've had in your past. So you can also de-stress around that. And I do think, I use the word fun a lot, but I really do mean that. Is like, if we can see it as just a way of exchanging value, because we can adjust the way of, instead of just holding tight, right? Because that's, I think, often gives so much stress to money. You have to hold it tight. If you can actually start playing with it, it just becomes something like, oh, now I can relax around it. So and then seeing some success. There is something, I think, fun right now in the crypto and NFT worlds, that there's real success, there's real change. I mean, there's places, and we haven't talked much about NFT world, but NFT are non-fungible tokens, right? And those are unique artworks or unique tickets, whatever you want to call them. There's quite a lot of exchange of money. So you put something in and you see it coming back pretty quickly. So that's not guaranteed at all, right? But it is kind of fun to see, like, oh, that's possible too. Those are just the little things. Overall, I would say to women, relax around it, do small amounts, get started with some other people that you trust, or get some girlfriends to do this with you, and see it as just a way of expanding your view, expanding who you are, what's in your world, and what's possible for you. Because in the end, I believe we're unlimited, right? Talking about this whole unlimited space that we have. So we're unlimited in our wealth as well. So just take some breaths around it, so you don't have to hold so tight. I think a lot of women are really good in expanding in their friendships and how they care for each other, right? In life, we can have the same breath around money and the same breath around cryptocurrency. It's like, just breathe that out and see how much really is possible for you.
Oh my gosh, that was beautiful. I love that you brought all of that in, because in the long run, it comes back to doing this type of thing is a reflection of who we are and how we feel about ourselves. And I love that you brought in the, not just the relaxation, but the looking at who do you want to be?
Yeah.
And yeah, I love that. Well, Annemarie, as we're bringing our conversation to a close, you just shared. So I was thinking, when you were sharing, I was like, oh my gosh, what more could she say that would be of great value to this group? But is there some wisdom about cryptocurrency and the blockchain, about building wealth, that you feel is important to share in this short time we have together? Something that you hope, besides what you've already said, will have a positive impact on our audience.
Yeah, and thank you so much. This has been a delightful interview. I will tell you, a delightful. I have totally loved it. If there's one tip I would give to anybody this podcast, particularly to the women, it would probably be, don't wait. Whatever you do, however small you start, whatever you need to do, just don't wait. There is a field of possibility in front of you, in front of us. There's so much possible. And if the good people, right, which are all your audience, if the good people of the world can really get on board with this and see for what it is, then there is so much possible. Together, we can make so much possible for good in the world with this whole new technology, with this whole new field that is so incredibly expansive into our worlds and what we can accomplish. So however you need to start, and then bring other people, bring other women with you, because there's somebody around you who knows nothing and has a desire to start. There's somebody around you, somebody that says, oh, gosh, I want to do this. And who 2 or 3 years from now, oh, I wish you would have told me. So start, and don't start by yourself. Start with somebody else, pull somebody else along and say, let's get started. Let's have fun in this whole world, and let's see what we can make of a difference in the future with. That's what I would say.
Well, thank you for that. And I am so glad that you said that to me and to the other women in the group so far. And I know that there are others out there who want to be a part of something that can support them as they're on this journey of growth and just, personally and from a wealth perspective. We are in the right time, and I am so grateful to have been in this conversation with you. To our audience, you're going to find Annemarie's contact information below. You're going to be able to reach out to her. Let her know that you heard about her on our show. And as you consider what it is that you can do next, share this recording. Share and let others know, like Annemarie said, you may know someone or a group of women who want to be in the space of the front end
Mhm.
of this new, or it's not new, but it is the newest development in wealth building and wealth creation and wealth sustaining growth. And so from me to you, happy February, the month of love, and March into spring. And let this year be your defining year for increasing your wealth, exploring cryptocurrency. Thank you, Annemarie, for being here with us today.
Thank you. It was wonderful.
Okay, so for our audience, there's so much more great stuff coming. Make sure you tune in every week, Tuesdays, 2:22 p.m. Eastern Time. And as you go about doing, be well, live, love, and make a bigger positive impact in your world. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.